I'm doing pretty good. Good to be here for another Zombroz podcast. All this excitement. Is that better? There we go. I just won't move my head all show. No, I don't think I have any announcements this week.
There we go. Sorry. Welcome to another wonderful week of Zombroz Action. I'm joined by the greatest co-host in all the world, Johnny J25. That was my intro. I keep recording stuff and then muting, so my apologies.
I am the best co-host ever, though.
Yes, he is. And I also want to say it's a treat this week because we have Johnny J big bass voice this week. Anyway, announcement-wise, the last episode was just uploaded today, so you guys can hear that on iTunes and Spotify. Everything else, working on the cups. We'll get those to you. And posters coming, Black Friday sale through December 13th. The Ether posters will go on sale again, and Chaos posters. So that's a big excitement. Besides that, hope you're enjoying the new editors. Chroma is going to be getting his first video out soon, but Welling has been going BT Welling. I keep trying to call him BT Wellington. I don't know, because the Remington new model. I don't know why I want to call him that, so I might end up getting like a really shitty prop gun and just put BT Wellington on it, just so whenever I mess up, I can take out the prop gun. It's not a good idea. We're moving on. Let's talk about BO4's updates, COD Mobile, and some of the other things going on in the Call of Duty zombie world right now. I want to talk about COD Mobile first, if you don't mind, because I think that's a big and the Gauntlet. The whole reason we were talking about the Tagger Toten's Gauntlet. But I think COD Mobile is a big positive, so I wanted to start on a high note here. Do you want to talk about COD Mobile?
I do. COD Mobile is really interesting.
Isn't it, though?
Mm-hmm.
Especially zombies. I only watch Mr. Dalek JD's coverage and videos on it right now. I haven't downloaded it yet. I should. Is it free?
Yeah, it's free.
All right, then I'll probably do that.
I haven't played either, but I don't understand it exactly. Because my understanding is that it's available on test servers or beta servers.
Yes.
But it's not fully released yet. I think it's timed too. Like you can only play 40 minutes at a time.
Yeah, I did see that.
And I don't know if that's I don't know if like anybody can access these beta servers or what. So if somebody could actually inform me on that, that'd be good to know.
Sure. Chat, it's up to you.
But it's pretty cool, actually. I was surprised by it.
Me too. It's one of those things that gives me major custom zombie vibes, but moreover COD Online vibes. And you don't have the pressure of the story mode, but you have the familiarity of the locations, like Shido Numa, I believe, and Transit were the two that I saw in beta and alpha. And seeing the crazy bosses they've thrown in there is really appealing to me, and on the old system as well. I wasn't a big fan of like the as soon as you end, well, I guess you get rewards, but literally like the slot machine of gobblegums you get at the end. But I don't know how that microtransaction system works at all, so I don't care. It's fine. There's no criticism yet. Just the imagery is like, oh boy, where are you gonna go with that? We know what Activision likes to do. Regardless, the bosses, there's like the Butcher, there was a Cyberus, you could fight the Avogadro. I mean, there was a weird Scorpion boss. So many cool bosses I saw on that, and it's just like it makes sense for that mode. It's like objective based. It's not endless survival. It's like they took zombies and they're like, all right, we're just gonna make our own weird little thing that is just fun and interesting. I don't know about replayability, but just looking at it on the surface level, that stuff seemed fun.
Yeah, it did, and it also I was surprised just how good it looked.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a mobile game, so you know, it's obviously not to the standard of a Xbox, but like, you know, like do you remember the old COD mobile?
Yep.
On like iOS, they
Horrible.
had World at War.
Yep.
That one worked. That one was okay. It didn't look good, but it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Then there was the Black Ops one, which looked bad and also played really poorly. Like it just would not run smoothly on my phone back when I had gotten it.
Okay.
This one though, like it looks like it runs smooth. And it honestly, it looks like something out of the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a knock, but actually isn't. You know?
No,
Like,
no,
for what
I was going to say it looks like World at War when it was released, a PS3 game. Because World at War, when you look back on it, especially on 720p PS3, it looks rough. And it looks...
No, I think World at War looks better. Maybe it's just
On
because we're used to
PC, it
playing World at
does.
War.
I'll say definitely on PC. But, like, I have old gameplays of World at War, and it's marginally better than what you're seeing on
But the art style's
mobile.
different, though.
Yeah, okay,
this
I'll give
art
you
style-
that.
There's a lot more saturation. I think they also, like, they're using lower res textures, and I think that helps.
Mm-hmm.
And smaller models. I think actually a better comparison, and it honestly might look even better, is World at War or Black Ops Wii.
Okay. Sure.
Like, Black Ops Wii looks bad.
Does. But, I mean, this doesn't look as bad. This is Mr. Dalek JD's gameplay. If anybody's interested, I'm going to pop it on screen real quick over the Tagged or Toten gameplay I have, just for the sake of interest here. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm watching right now some Wii gameplay from Black Ops 1.
Yep.
And it's definitely, again, a different art style, but I think I like the look of the iPhone better than I do Black Ops on the Wii.
I would agree. No, I think the graphics are really exceptional for a mobile device. That's what is very surprising to me.
The way they design the map too, I think in terms of like textures and render distance and stuff, it's much more optimized for the phone than it is, say, like the
Absolutely.
Wii.
Absolutely.
The Wii's just a crappy low budget port.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was curious. Is this completely from the ground up, or did they?
It looks to me ground up.
Yeah, because they even have special areas like this transit boss fight I'm showing right now from Mr. Dalek JD against Cyberus is just fascinating. They're literally putting all these different objectives in here and programming specific bosses to show up for certain sequences. I think a lot of work went into this in a way that is can be smiled upon into the zombies community. I don't really...
no, like this is
a
not
positive.
Like, when we had the previous mobile versions,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call them like a low effort cash grab, because like I really do think though the World at War one worked really well. I like the World at War one, but like they didn't really improve on the original content.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just took the original base zombies and put it on the phone. This though, like they're taking the base zombies, they're adding objectives and missions and bosses.
Yeah.
Like I thought that basically it's Takio. Did you see the Takio fight? Or the Zetsubo fight?
Zetsubo fight. There was a Shinonuma and a guy that looked like Takio that was this big, like lumbering Goliath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
he says it. There he goes. Crazy Zetsubo boss fight. My apologies. Okay.
Yeah, to get there, what you actually have to do is do a little bit of an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Do we do now? So I think.
And part of that Easter egg takes place in Zetsubo no Shima.
Whoa! I see it now.
It's a Zetsubo that isn't as like decrepit and run over like it was.
Yeah.
It's slightly different. And I thought this was a really cool concept where it's like they took this thing that we've seen before in zombies and gave it a new light, kind of like they did in Black Ops 4.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on the fucking mobile phone. And I know we complain about remasters and rehashes in Black Ops 4.
Mm-hmm.
But Black Ops 4, we have higher expectations.
Exactly.
We go into Black Ops 4 saying we want a brand new zombies experience. I have low expectations for this version on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see them like reworking Shinonuma into Zetsuba, or reworking Zet into Shinonuma and giving them a connection, and then adding a little bit of a quest, and then the boss fight. And the boss fight's cool when it loads in. It's got like a little mini cutscene that I would have never expected from this version.
Oh my god, there's diary pages. I don't care about the lore.
There's diary pages. There's radios. There's a lot going on here.
That's just cool. That adds a bit of mysticism to games.
This has effort.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, there's so much thought put into something so simple, and sometimes it's better to have the keep it simple, stupid approach to these type of things. I mean, it might be also the system is classic. This is basically looks like classic zombies to me. You don't have your specialist weapons. You don't have all those extra things. I guess there's class-based system on there, The HUD is
It
definitely cluttered.
I actually think I kind of like the HUD.
Ah.
The problem with the mobile HUD is that you have to put the buttons on screen.
Yeah.
Um, but I found the mini map actually kind of interesting. I don't know if it's necessary, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it takes it's a new thing in zombies where it's like never before have we been able to see a top down view of literally where everything is on the map, like
Mm-hmm.
bosses and zombies. Like that actually, if you're good, you could probably use that in a way to like be able to avoid zombies really easily. Like,
Mm-hmm.
normally in zombies you don't want to walk backwards and shoot because you don't know what's behind you.
Oh, that's
But you
fair.
do but you do when you have the mini map.
That's fair. That's really fair.
Like in the round counter at the top, I don't think that's that bad. Even like with the perks and the guns and seeing that there, so you know they are to easily switch. Maybe you can just make that a button. You don't need to have them on screen, but you have your ammo counts there.
Yeah. If you could
I
make
think
most of that disappear on screen, all the little buttons, that would be a big win. Oh, jug speed and double tap are in this. There you go.
Yeah, I think it works well for the real estate they have.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
what I
to be fair,
don't
yeah.
think are necessary in the hub are things like the at the top you have like the settings and the volume and the mute and the sprint button and the chat button and the thumbs up.
Yeah.
I think they could be made smaller or maybe just put in a line under the mini map.
Sure.
They're the things I don't really get, but I think for the most part I'm actually a fan of the hub.
I wonder how less cluttered it looks like it on an iPad, if this even plays on an iPad. I'd be curious.
I think it does play. I think Call of Duty Mobile is on an iPad. It should be because it's all iOS. But yeah, I bet it's even better on an iPad.
Whoa, what? It changes it. It's a round 13 abomination. Then he does. I'm again watching Mr. Dalek JD's. Make sure to go check it out. Him doing this Easter egg, and I saw the previous gameplay he had was from Gun of Truth. Isn't that the mapper we had on like 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
So he's gotten access to this, and I think he shared some of the gameplay with John. So that's really cool. And maybe those influences will also impact our modding community. That's really cool. It's so weird. Boss round. Juboko? I really don't want any story significance behind any of this. This just looks like really cool, just fun. And again, because it comes from mobile. Why, if you're going to make the argument, why don't you have the same approach to Black Ops 4? I mean, the marketing alone led us in a completely different direction and expectation, especially when you look back at the original cutscenes. Did you do it where you put all the cutscenes together and released it, like the Black Ops 4 movie? Did you do that? I think you did.
Yeah, I did that.
Isn't it?
You can see the exact moment when the budget cut.
Wow, it's like, whoa. It's understandably disappointing to see where it went compared to where it started.
Mm-hmm. John gets completely wrecked by the boss.
Yeah, the Juboko. Jub?
It's interesting though, the bosses are basically just bullet sponges though.
Yeah. But I mean that's kind of what you expect. They're raid bosses for COD Mobile.
Yeah.
I don't expect much out of it. I don't understand the cards of the system yet. It looks like weapon XP cards. Okay. I'm not seeing anything really too malicious about it all. It's interesting to have different takes on transit and Shinonuma and even Zet showing up. Those are the things that kind of add to your excitement in the headcanon you end up having. Something that, like you were just discussing with the map, as soon as you see a room on the mini map that you can't access, but the mini map says you can get into, that's something you're going to start obsessing about and try and have fun to solve. What does this mean? And you don't need a guide. You can just try and figure things out to see how you can get in there. Or if it's a crazy Easter egg quest, at least you know, oh, I should probably be looking up. How do I get into the secret room? Those things are like essential to engaging gamers. And I think it's potentially a cool addition they could add if they're going to have a mini map on screen like they do inside this game.
Mm-hmm. I find it so odd, though, that the HUD varies depending on which map you're on. I don't get that.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I find it odd that the HUD changes depending on which game mode or which map you're playing.
Well,
like if you'll notice, Transit has a different HUD than Shinonuma.
Well, this is alpha. The other one's beta.
Oh, okay.
And then someone in chat, Ray Mitchell, says you can change the opacity and size of everything in the HUD as well as move them. So there you go.
That's pretty easy.
No, that's terrific. And you know what? That's probably why it's changed then too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
But I would say that the HUD is much improved from alpha to beta.
Yeah.
The transit, this is actually
Butcher.
the first time I'm seeing the transit one.
Yes.
And I'm watching like in the field where the boss fight is.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
I think it actually looks really good.
That's what I was saying. I mean, it just some of this stuff.
It feels like transit without the fog, actually.
Yeah. I mean, the mobile probably can't handle the fog.
The Avogadro literally looks straight though from like the Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
I bet that model's so like sparse that they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Because it's just lines, isn't it?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I'm not a 3D model expert, so I can't imagine. I'm sure there's a couple guys. Colin,
but you know, it's like it's like the Avogadro though of all the models.
Mm-hmm.
It has very few different like colors.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty basic. Like it's just white and lines. That's what I mean.
Yeah, in comparison, yeah, I feel you. Then I think that's not too ridiculous a statement to make that it was probably easier.
I was watching the animation, and the animation looked a lot like the Black Ops 2 one.
Mm-hmm.
Which they probably modeled it off of, but like I just found it interesting.
Yeah, and moving off that too, they all have like custom cutscenes, like you just pointed out. I just showed the napalm on screen, the Inferno coming on there. That's a note I did have was all the knockoff names. This seems like the crispy rice treats knockoff brand version, where all these things have just these strange names, like the napalm zombies, the Inferno, and then like Cyberus for that you literally fight Cyberus inside this Cerberus.
Well, Cerberus is what.
It is. That's fair. That's fair.
You got Cerberus, Avogadro, like they make sense, but the Jabico, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. And then the Scorpion one had the Abomination, the Butcher, just standard names for baddies, and it's not really that big a deal. The Butcher looks crazy.
Yeah, he does.
Could you imagine that shit walking around? Ugh.
I'm not putting a lot of stock into the names.
Oh no, but that's why again it makes me take it less seriously. It's just. You know, it's you're here to have fun on a mobile device when you're out and about. You're not expecting. It's free too. That's again why expectations are so changed for something like this. This is all free. That's amazing. And they're gonna try and get you on the microtransactions, but we're not paying $60 or $100 for a special edition or $200 for the super special edition. Hearing all these promises, going through a whole season, and the expectations are quite different than something like this. This is a big win, and it's no surprise many people are playing this. Oh, and also I see graphic quality is very high on the video, so I would be curious to see if there's memes coming out if you play on the lowest COD mobile graphical settings.
How bad it looks.
Oh, it's got to be awful. It has to be atrocious. Oh, but
that'd be interesting to see. I'm curious to know how far this goes in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would they ever fully build transit? You know? Like connect all the different areas, because it seems like just each area is just a little arena, right?
I don't know. It seems that way, but I thought I was reading about it on one of the Reddit posts, trying to do some research before talking about it on the podcast. I thought they said they ported it all together, and then they took feedback instead of just porting the whole map initially in private alpha. They then broke it up into these missions, and that's what we see now. And that's why. Yeah. It feels new, basically. It feels a lot different than the original port that was just the same thing rehashed. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why the remasters didn't really hit well so much, because this is very far from what transit is, even though it looks the same, having bosses, missions, objectives, new cutscenes for the bad guys. I mean, we didn't get cutscenes for the bad guys in Black Ops 4, maybe 1 or 2 times at most, but the Butcher has a customized one. I just saw the Avogadro, the secret boss, I mean, man, that's a lot of effort put into this COD mobile zombies mode. I wonder if Treyarch gave their stamp of approval on this, or Activision was just like, this is ours. We can do what we want. Outsource it to another studio.
I definitely think that's part of it. I definitely think Treyarch. They probably consulted with Treyarch.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Treyarch was like, we'd rather you didn't do all this, but because you're going to and we don't have a say, we're going to give our blessing,
Yeah, I mean, the warden shows up in Shinonuma, so I feel like Treyarch was like, whatever, you do you.
It's like if it's gonna happen, let's make it happen well, rather than like drag our feet. But I want to know though, like, will we ever reach a point where the Call of Duty Mobile gets its own maps?
Why not? I mean, if it's bringing in money, you follow the money.
Of course, it all depends on how much money it brings in, and also all depends on like how big the player base is. But if it was to get to the point where there were a lot of people playing it, and they did start to get their own unique maps, and then have like their own unique lore, it really could take off as its own thing, like a zombie spinoff.
Sure, exactly.
And I'm wondering if it'll slowly evolve into that.
Yes, I think this is an excellent zombie spinoff. I think the worst thing they could do is try and make it canon to the Ether storyline or something like that. That would just, it's just not, you're pigeon-toeing yourself at this point. I have a lot of nice things to say about it. Ray Mitchell seems to have a lot of details on the game, so I'm going to read out a couple more of his points. Monetization are loot box, direct purchases, and roulette wheels. XP cards aren't purchasable, and they're used for leveling up any weapon you want. So you earn XP to level up weapons, but then you have these 3 different microtransaction systems. That's how they make their money on a free game, because clearly this takes a lot of effort to develop something like this, all right, to be fair. So there's got to be some compensation on some end. I'm sure I'm not going to like it once I look into the details and once it's released. But it's free though. I have such a better. It's not great, but at least it's starting at free versus we're paying the special edition money and we still can't access all the weapons in game, which we'll get to that later. There was another really good point made in chat about this. That was the Butcher looks like the Kino der Toten unused engineer zombie that was also used in Dead Ops Arcade. I thought that was something just fun because I've had that when people on podcasts don't bring that up and I'm banging my head. I'm like, it totally looks like this. It's so obvious. Very much so. I agree completely that it looks like they're taking even some influences from Dead Ops Arcade or unused concept art from previous Call of Duties, and that's cool. That's cool because then you get that. There's something about that feeling, especially with old games. You don't see it so much in new games where it's that constant wonder that there's more. Like in a Mario game, you'll find a Mario on the N64, like this secret weird thing that people didn't understand. The developers put it in. Was it unfinished? And this weird sound comes out about it. There's so much lore. I think there's a game, Sticky Paddles Creepy Gaming was a channel back in the past. I don't know if he's still doing it. Probably is. Where there's just such a large amount of this mystery inside gaming that you could easily capitalize with the Zetsubo no Shima, where you teleport to a whole new place. That was part of why Zombies initially was interesting. When we were like, oh man, they could do anything. Now we know the formula, we know what they're capable of. The curtain's been pulled back. We rarely are super surprised when they do something like this. Is clearly a surprise. Zetsubo no Shima showing up in the middle of Shino Numa in a new setting. It makes you start wondering, like, oh, all these new questions. And I think that's really awesome. This genre, or at least this aspect of gaming that gets you to ask so many new questions that probably don't have any answers. It's the J.J. Abrams of video games, where it's just like, you make a black box. Who cares what the answer is? But people want to know what's in the black box. That spawns a lot of really fun gaming memories and moments.
Yeah. I would so far give this my big thumbs up of approval.
Yeah.
Very excited. It drops the 22nd. I'll be picking it up, and I'm sure we'll after play we'll talk about it on the show.
Sure.
I think the 22nd it drops. Am I right?
Yes, you are right.
22nd. I bet.
I also like the I am Groot about the Zetsubo no Shima boss.
Yeah, it's basically just a Groot boss fight.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I just want to catch up with chat there. That's all good. So that is all set. We'll talk about the adjustments to the loot box and the loot mechanics and the ranking mechanics inside Black Ops 4 with one of the latest updates in early November. And then we'll talk about Tag Dare Toten's Gauntlet. So there was a blog post released by Treyarch Studios on November 4th, 2019. and they talked about big changes are coming to Black Ops 4 to give players a direct path to earning new weapons and rewards just by playing the game. I've been a massive proponent of that. I have advocated for that for a very, very long time, and I am thrilled to see this implemented in the game. At least this might set a precedence for them to start here and not end a season where they should have started. When there should be ways, just like in Modern Warfare, they've maybe learned that you should be able to play the game and earn all the guns in game like you used to in Call of Duty. It's one of the most basic mechanics. The game's all about gunplay. It's all about getting the guns and playing with them. Don't lock these behind walls. Please don't lock these behind walls, or randomness, or the possibility like cryptocurrency. You could just keep getting crypto boxes in BO3 and never get all the guns. You could forever because of duplicates and all that type of stuff. One moment. So what do you make about this blog post?
Well, I think one thing is nice is that maybe this is them like, because they're doing this after the season.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're dipping the toes in the water and seeing like, okay, do people like this? Can we do this in Black Ops 5 and not get shit?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any possibility of that, or do you think this is just like postseason kind of like whatever?
I think it's potentially postseason whatever, but they're hoping to get good data to maybe argue in the next game to Activision that we start this way. We were still making more transactions or whatever, because I think the sentiment is Treyarch was strong-armed by Activision to implement the loot box systems from Grand Heist onwards. It's not a good look. We got to be honest. It's a really bad look to implement this after you've gotten all the money out of the community, after all the frustration, after players have been begging for a system like this the entire life cycle of Black Ops 4, and then you implement it a month into Call of Duty, almost a month into Modern Warfare's release, as player counts fall drastically inside Black Ops 4, trying to get people to grind on this. It's great for those that still love the game. I know there's still a group of people that swear by Black Ops 4 as being their favorite game ever, so I think they're going to be very excited about this, but I think it's almost like the same idea to a Fallout 76 community, not as extreme. They got their core group. They like the game no matter what. This is what they're after. For everybody else, it's like, it feels just like a slap in the face. Like, this is so much better if it was during the season. Why didn't we start here with Grand Heist? Why did it take this long? These things were suggested for so long, and we couldn't get this. I mean, how many prestigious key videos did he have to make about how rough the system was? I mean, that's part of the reason we don't talk about it, is because what do we add to the conversation? It's the same damn conversation every time we talk about loot boxes. So I hope Treyarch maybe start here and just try and get better with this. I'm hoping more and more companies, even EA, no microtransactions in Jedi The Last Order, the recent Star Wars game they just released, almost as we're sorry about Battlefront the way we did that. We're just letting this one go clean, and people like the game. It's not the best game ever, but they released a solid game, and critics are happy with it. People are happy with it. That's pretty great.
Yeah, it's a shock that EA is releasing a game and there hasn't been any major controversy.
Right? So it's like maybe there's a correction happening in the industry. I don't think it's likely, but I think maybe a minor correction to try and find, okay, the government's getting involved. They're starting to look into these laws thanks to Blizzard's mess ups and all that type of deal, and the EU, or it's just British Parliament. I keep confounding it with the EU. It's not the EU. Britain's trying to leave the EU. British Parliament. And I miss you too, JC. Hey, JC's in chat. Good to see you. Jedi, thank you. Jedi Fallen Order is the game. It looks like an upgraded, maybe a little bit clunky version of The Force Unleashed, just by 2 cents there. But I mean, the industry would, I think, focusing on making good games and stop like the machine. Someone made a comment on one of my previous videos, and I very much felt his sentiment of like, it's a machine. Franchises stop being like this special thing around 2013. Money got huge in the gaming industry, and then this mentality of we need a new game every year. Assassin's Creed did it. Call of Duty's done it for quite a long time. FIFA's done it. Sports games have done it. But to WWE to a different degree,
they
right?
always felt minorly organic, because like each season had a new roster,
right?
You know?
But now that we have the updates, it feels like why why can't you? I mean, they're actively updating it. I downloaded for free MLB The Show 2019 when the Yankees lost out of the playoffs and lived out my very sad fantasy beating the Houston Astros in MLB The Show. It was free. It was a really bad obsession, and that game was driving me nuts. Regardless, the game felt the same like it did when I played it back in 2009 or 2009, 2007, I think, were the times I was playing it on my PSP and PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, maybe. I played the heck out of those games in the past, but I saw almost no improvements, and they update the rosters. So I'm like, how is the graphics? Like, I'm still so disappointed by MLB The Show's graphics. It's how do games like The Last of Us exist and mechanics, like they add new modes to these game modes, but they're not drastically improving. I think it hurts the industry, and that's why you can buy like MLB The Show 2014 for like cents, a couple bucks, but certain like all-star baseball games from back in the past, they had a little different character and structure to them that they sell as novelties. They sell for more than a modern, better playing game just because, well, that's the same game released 15 times. And then, it's just part of the machine.
The grind.
Yeah. So anyway, so good on Treyarch. The things they talked about, reverse stacks, you can basically trade in 50 reserve cases that allows players to select the weapons of their choice. So that's the big deal right there. Still a lot. 50 reserve cases, that's a lot. So they're still encouraging people to buy 50 reserve cases instead of earning 50 reserve cases. But you do daily contracts, you get 2 a day. So you're playing for 2 hours a day. You get 2 of those, 25 days. You'll be able to guarantee you get a gun. So, it's 50 hours of gameplay. It's still a lot. Still got a long way to go.
It's the fact that you can guarantee. It's the fact that you can say the word guarantee.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels like a positive step.
Agreed.
Not always can you use the word guarantee.
Agreed. And then you also get no dupes, I think, with one of them as well for the other 2 things that show up in the box, which is nice. I feel like that should be the default, but at least we're getting there where they're acknowledging, like, these are special, no duplicates. So you get the gun you want in the game that you paid for. So hopefully it'll get better.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so enough about that. It's not going to go to a positive conversation if we keep talking about it. Let's talk about the Gauntlet. What did you think of the Gauntlet? I did not play it. I watched Mr. Raffle Waffles, Milo, and Smart Guy play it for 3 hours, and I skipped through it. I could not sit through all 3 hours of it, through the Gauntlet itself. And I have some opinions about it, and I believe John does as well. So let's talk about it.
It's a rough Gauntlet.
Yeah.
It's not a hard gauntlet. It's just a tedious gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I played through it, you don't know what's coming, of course, as always.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't see like, how the gauntlet, the menu opens up as you slowly do it. So your first 2 playthroughs or so, you don't know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just kind of going through the rounds. And what I find really frustrating is when you get to a round that's literally impossible to beat because you didn't know it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
AKA complete a totem. Like, I wasn't worrying about the totems. I was worrying about the gauntlet.
Yep.
So then when I see complete a totem by the end of the round, I'm like, well, fuck. So I go run to the beach and I do that totem.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is like, I think get 12 kills with the snowballs, which isn't that hard.
Yep.
And then get 12 kills with the lighthouse. But then I'm like, well, fuck, there's not enough zombies on the round.
Yep.
So I've now died because I didn't, like, I should have started that sooner.
Yep.
And then so my next playthrough, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna because they're gonna throw nonsense at me like that, like stuff I don't know I have to do until like it's the round and I might not have enough time. I went ahead and I looked at all of the different things, and that's when I read through and I'm like, oh no, I have to do all 5 totems. So my next 2 playthroughs, I'm pretty much just doing the totems. Like, there are rounds when I'm not even like paying attention to the challenge for that round because it's something like relatively minor, or it's I don't need to worry about it too much. Like, if it's something easy, like survive an electric zombie round or grab the handle, like I'm gonna do that already. But it's like, God, I spent more time doing totem challenges than I actually did the gauntlet challenges. My best on this is 11, and I've completed 3 totems in a single game.
Oof.
I spent an hour just doing the totems and getting to 11. Like that was just annoying. But I also did feel like I'm like, okay, well, if I can knock out these totems as soon as possible, I'm sailing. Like it'll be smooth. But it's those totems that, like, unless you're actually actively working on them beforehand, you might not have enough time to do them.
Right.
Especially
There's something about the implementation of those type of challenges where it's the gotcha challenges. It's not actually difficult. You're just screwed because you didn't know it was coming. And it's just like, haha, dummy. You should have known to do this early.
Or it's some of the ones, it's like, I just don't know how to do them. Like, I didn't know how to do the Wonderwaff Easter egg.
Yep.
So then I had to pause the game and go look up a tutorial from Milo and watch Milo's tutorial, and I have that up. And then I'm doing one of the totems and I didn't know how to do the soup, so then I had to pull up a soup tutorial. And then I didn't know how to make the heat pack, so I had to do a heat pack tutorial, and it was just like,
yeah.
Maybe I should know how to do this shit. I guess if I'm a zombies YouTuber, I should know how to do all this shit. But still, I don't like the idea of having to pause the game and go look up a tutorial so I can go continue on in my gauntlet. Like, I think the best gauntlet challenges are the ones that are actually challenges. Like, for example, you have ones that's like only be able to kill zombies in the beacon of the lighthouse, which is a really tough one to do, especially as it moves around. And that's why it's found later in the game. Even other stuff like use unpack-a-punch pistols or take damage when you're not sprinting. Like, those are actually challenges. Build the shield by the end of the round is not a challenge.
No, it's more tutorials. It helps you learn the map, and that might be one of their goals, is helping casual players through gauntlets. You're forcing them to learn the map, but...
Yeah, and I think I've made that exact argument before. Actually, I was thinking about this as I was recording it. I'm like, did I ever make the argument on the show that I like how the gauntlet kind of teaches you the map a little?
I think you did. Might have. I think we did to the point. But Dead of the Night was where it was not. It was too much. Certain maps it was all right because we didn't have to do everything. There was a recent gauntlet. Don't quite remember which one it was. It might have been the Alpha Omega one, where it just wasn't. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't. You got to do everything. It was just like
I'm
make
okay
a gun.
Like maybe 2 or 3 of them. But like as I go through, let's see, as I read through everything they want you to acquire the zipline handle, which is fine. You're gonna do that anyway. Possess one player must possess a Wonderwaff, and they got to look up the Wonderwaff tutorial. I'm ignoring the totem ones because they also have their own set of guides. Craft the heat pack. Open up all doors, which isn't that difficult, but you might not know about the bombs. This is like just taking a fresh player who's never played the map before.
Yep.
Let's see. Complete totem.
But I mean, that's you made your point. It's very much so much of this. Haha, gotcha, and it's
but the totem
tedious.
Each totem generally has one, and they make you do 5 totems. So in total, you have 30 challenges plus 15 challenges from all the totems. So you need to actually do 45 challenges.
Yep.
Like it felt lazy that 5 of the 30 challenges are just totems.
I guess it would be those 5s because those 5 challenges would take away 5. You're adding, but it's per
but some of them are duplicates already. Like the totem challenge.
Yeah.
One of the totem challenges, I think it's the one by
snowballs, and there's a snowball on 19. I can just give you that one immediately.
No, but the flinger one. There's a challenge to kill 15 zombies with a flinger, and then there's a challenge to do the flinger to like fling zombies in the totem.
Okay.
It's literally the same exact one with I think the same exact number.
There you go.
I think you gotta kill like 15. It's just if this gauntlet feels lazy.
They might have mailed it in. I mean, most of the community's gone at this point, so it's like, yeah, we'll do what we can with it and move on to the next game and try and make it better. Could be the state of mind over there. I think as a whole, some of the stuff I dislike the most are like the 27 out of scope use in unpack sniper rifle on round 27. It's just like, give me an insta kill then. Let me just keep popping insta kills because this sucks. It's just like using the starting room rifle in the Voyage of Despair gauntlet. That was just like, we can do this. This isn't hard. This is just horribly tedious. really boring, slows down the game, and isn't fun. I feel the type of gamer that I like to be while playing zombies in this format of gauntlets is I felt like there needs to be a momentum that is carried, that things should be getting faster and faster all the way to the end, and that's really exciting, normally building up to a big climax for a boss fight or something like that. Most of the gauntlets don't hit that mark for me. That's why I don't like most of the gauntlets, because there's so many things that let you catch your breath, but then sometimes it's just like, all right, we're going to guarantee we're playing for another 10 to 20 minutes, and that's not really indicative of speedruns. They give us this timer to be all excited about speedruns and trying to beat your friends, and what's the point? When it's an hour-long speedrun, that's not very interesting. It's just for zombies. Other games is different story, but I'm saying for this specific mode,
it would help to rearrange some of the challenges.
Certainly.
I don't have an issue with Unpack-a-Punch Sniper Challenge.
Right. I agree.
Put that in the silver or bronze tier.
Agree.
And I think the gold tier should be some of those harder ones, like defending navigation. Or defend, like, the ones that force you to like defending in like the icy area, whatever that was called. Those are tough places to train, especially later in the game.
Sure,
those are good late challenges. You have one that's like slowly take damage if not inside the lighthouse station. That's challenge number 2. It's honestly not even a challenge at round 2. Just hang out in the base of the lighthouse.
Yeah, because there's no zombies
30
there.
Seconds to walk there. But if you threw that in the silver or threw that in the gold, suddenly that becomes much more of a challenge.
Agreed.
Like, I think they need to rearrange them a little bit better.
I agree. And I don't like the repeat challenges like you brought up earlier, again, to reiterate that. I mean, when you have... The gauntlets just might be too many. It might be a victim of just having too many challenges they have to make up for 30 different rounds, and they had to do that for every single map. Like, because you get some absolutely golden challenges. I bet if you took an all-star gauntlet where you picked all the very best challenges or most well-received challenges, you could have a blast playing these. I still think Blood of the Dead is one of my least favorite maps, just because to play, story-wise, has a lot of cool stuff to it. But gameplay-wise, not a gigantic fan. And I love the like classic approach to you remember when the zombies, when they move like super fast, or they're like moving at a low frame rate or something, and it was based on Japanese horror movies, and the zombies attack you with this very it's just a different approach, the way the animations work and how they're coming to get you. I don't think it works exactly like the robots, when you're not looking, they're moving, and then you look and everything's still. I think it's slightly different than that. But stuff like that I think is terrific. No HUD or black and white mode and messing little stuff like that is fun for the low-key rounds. That's how you take a break and you pause. Not so much, we're going to reset your class at, round 24. And then after that, we're going to say you can't have any money. Otherwise, every second you're over 100,000 points, we're going to hurt you. And then you can't buy all your perks back. Just the way it would stack in challenges would be like, is this fun? Or is this, what are we doing? I found that to happen quite often in these. I did think Toten had some cool moments, though. The Molten Mayhem was one of the cooler ones, where you got to sprint to avoid.
Molten Mayhem's cool.
Hell Train, it transforms the world.
Defending human infusion, like for a 30 challenge, I think that's a really tough one to do for 30.
Okay.
Like that's just a tight area to train in, so I think if you could pull that off, that's pretty good. The dog one, where the snowballs.
Yeah, that'll help you get the trophy too.
Yeah, like I like the Hush Puppy one, use the snowballs only, and they just throw dogs at you. Like those are interesting challenges, because it's something you'd never get in zombies, where you're gonna face off against a really difficult dog round, where like we're gonna throw more dogs at you than normal, and you only got snowballs. Like, good luck. Like those are the challenges I want to see in zombies. I don't want to see build the heat pack by the end of the round.
Agreed. For a gauntlet, I don't think doing side quests is
like side quests
a challenge
for good gauntlets.
Yeah,
no.
For the most part, I think there were some good ones though, weren't there? I swear there was a couple of good ones.
There are good ones. Like,
but
I think
by and large,
and even some of the lower ones, like number 7, no health regen.
Yeah,
like at round 7, it never gave me any issue.
But
I was definitely paying more attention to round 7 than I was round 6 or round 8. You know, like I want each round to feel like a new round. And when actually, let me rephrase that. I want each round to feel like a new experience.
Right. I
And
figured that's what you're going for.
I get that sometimes when it's like round 19 is hush puppies, where you're fighting just a massive wave of dogs with snowballs, and then 20 is defending navigation.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have two completely different play styles, and they feel different.
Right. And that's what takes away when you fill it full of all these challenges. And the other rounds are now, when you say do it early, you're ignoring the other rounds. You're just playing zombies like normal. It's not a gauntlet anymore.
Well,
you're just
that's
playing
what it was.
zombies.
I got to the end of I was at the round where I had to build the zipline handle by round 6.
Mm-hmm.
I had that done real fast. So I just spent pretty much that round, even got a crawler just doing 2 of the totems, or as many as I could. You know, and I actually I died more working on the totems than I did the actual challenges. Funny enough, like I was doing the lighthouse one, and I actually stepped in the lighthouse beam, so I went down and like, well, fuck, I died on an easy challenge, like an easy gauntlet challenge.
Yeah,
because I was being careless on a totem challenge.
And it makes sense. Did you do the? Does it force you to do the P Easter egg?
No.
Or okay, they just did that then.
Unless is the P Easter. I know it, but I forget the steps. Is it one of the totems?
Might be. It is, isn't it?
If it's part of the totems, then yeah.
Yeah, it must be.
Because they force you to do all the totem challenges.
Yeah, it must be. I can't remember now. It's been so long since I played Toten. And this is Smart Guy's gameplay when he was playing with Mile when they completed it. Just wanted to show you some visuals from the gauntlet itself. So it's just, it's another gauntlet. It's a standard gauntlet. They gave it a good effort. I think this is it for content for Call of Duty Zombies for Black Ops 4. I can't imagine we would see anything else, John. You don't expect a May, June Chronicles 2 reveal, do you?
No, I don't.
I think that would be quite a mistake if they did do something like that with Black Ops. I mean, they're going to be promoting Black Ops 5. That's crazy. That Black Ops 5 is that close.
P isn't a totem. You throw snowballs at puppies.
No, that's right. At the sock puppets. That's what I thought. It's the sock puppets.
So, no, so my thing with Zombie Chronicles 2 is if we were going to get it, we would have gotten it already. Like it would have been a November, October kind of release around the same time as Modern Warfare, which is tricky in terms of marketing. Like, do you market both? Do you market one or the other? But because, we're here now coming into December in 2 weeks, then 4 months later, we're already on the hype train for Black Ops 5. Unless you were to work in Zombie Chronicles 2 into the Black Ops 5 hype. Here's,
maybe pre-order deals, a pre-order bonus.
That's what I was gonna say. Here's my bold prediction.
There you go.
Pre-order Black Ops 5. Either get Zombie Chronicles 2 for Black Ops 4, or you get Zombie Chronicles 2 as like a day one thing for Black Ops 5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Zombie Chronicles 2 for Black Ops 5 day one makes sense because it's like let's assume that they already have like 80% of it done and it got cut.
Yeah.
Then it could very well be that with that 80% done, they're like, well, shit, we can just finish this and then make it our pre-order bonus, and then we don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
Because Zombies generally has that pre-order map, whether it's the original Zombie Chronicles as the Black Ops 1 pre-order bonus, or the or that was the Hardened Edition. You got that, I think. And then Nuketown. Then what was Black Ops 3's? Oh, the Giant. And it's also generally a remake too. So that's going to be my official bold prediction.
So brave. You're so brave.
How could you say something so... Wait, what is it? So controversial, yet so true.
Yeah.
Do you know this line?
I've heard many memes about that at this point, of brave, controversial, where you say something that's absolutely not.
How could you say something so controversial? It's from Eric Andre. How could you say something so controversial, yet so brave?
There it is. Beautiful. Yeah, so it's I think that about wraps up everything I wanted to talk about the gauntlets for. John, you're welcome to get topic time up. And then we'll have donations.
Time, let's get it.
Let's do it.
Ultimate Noob 23 says, does expecting the unexpected make the unexpected the expected?
You can never expect the unexpected, so it will always be unexpected. but
unless it's a Spanish Inquisition.
Oh God, they're so good. I never expect
Nobody
them.
expects that.
I never expect them.
Oh shit, they're here. Vegan Lizard King says, "Have you seen Mandalorian on Disney Plus?"
Yeah, I liked it.
Did you like it?
Yeah, did you see it?
No, you're Mr. Anti-Star Wars. I don't have Disney Plus yet.
Yeah. Well, my sister has it free, so she invited me over. My sister's the one that sends me updates about Reylo. Do you know what Reylo is?
No.
That is the group of people that are shipping Kylo Ren and Rey together as a relationship, and they're oogling over it, and that's the only reason. My sister's never liked Star Wars, and now she likes Star Wars. And I'm like, this is bullshit. This kills me. But it's a soap opera, space opera, I think is the official.
Mandalorian is?
Star Wars. The genre is space opera. So Mandalorian is actually more a take on a Western, basically a Western in space. And it's got really awesome sci-fi. There's so much show don't tell. So I really like that. I've never been so happy to see Jawas annihilated. There's a really good plot hook to the series as well that I think is excellent. There's a lot of lore. I love the Mandalorian lore, so they can really lean into that. I'm not seeing where a lot of the issues I have in Star Wars is like woke Disney, merchandising. It's disingenuous, rewriting characters and history inside the series that I really liked. I also have a romanticized version of Star Wars because of the Clone Wars movie, TV series. I mean, that's like 400 hours of content that I could consume and be like, oh man, I love this versus 2.5 hour movie. At best, how much can you really develop in a 2.5 hour movie? So obviously, other people, fantastic, but in worlds as big as Star Wars, it can be some problems. But anyway, getting all of my biases out of the way for it, I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed The Mandalorian. I look forward to more. I was sitting there being like, I can't wait till he gets a jetpack and more bombs. I want to see more explosions. I mean, I saw some people saying it was boring. Yeah, to each their own. I can totally understand why people might not like it. I wasn't sure it was a parody, though. For like the first 10 minutes, I'm like, is this a parody? Is this a joke? Is this supposed to be serious? But it's a little darker. I also saw the comment that people were like, there wasn't enough killing in it. And I'm like, what? I thought it was terrific. It was violent as hell. This is Star Wars that I read in graphic novels or played in video games, which also impact a lot of my consumption of Star Wars. So I liked it.
This is surprising, especially from you, who has since been Mr. Anti-Star Wars.
Yeah. So I check it out. See if you like it. Form your own opinions. I think it's pretty good. I'm gonna watch it every Friday until I hate it with my sister. They're supposed to release every Friday, minus around Christmas. I think they have a Tuesday release for some reason for the schedule.
Wait, so does Disney not do like Netflix and just release all at once?
Yep, they don't. They make it like a premiere thing, which it's kind of nice in the sense that you have something to look forward to, kind of like Game of Thrones, sort of HBO-esque, that you subscribe to HBO, but things come out as time goes on. So that's what I'm excited for. Yeah, the first episode was great. Directors, I think Jon Favreau directed one. Dave, I forget his last name, but he's part of the guys that made Clone Wars and Rebels. He's amazing. He directed the first episode. I think Happy was involved with this. Is that David Favreau? Is that the same guy?
Yeah, Jon Favreau.
Yeah, Jon Favreau. I'm sorry. And there's another director too in there. They're just amazing. You're putting the hands into some of the best creators and film directors in the industry and people who have safeguarded the lore of Star Wars. You're getting something really great out of the series. And I especially liked how the main character was conveying a lot without saying too much, and then they didn't have to go to the audience. This is how bounty hunting works. This is how it was. There was so much. There's no lines like, "Man, they hate that ship." There's none of that shit. It's just you're just watching a movie.
That's good. Captain Murphy says, "Did either of you see Talum or Tim Hansen's video on why they feel Black Ops 4 failed? Both were very good videos."
I didn't, but I think I heard someone comment in a Zombroz live stream saying that Tim argued it didn't innovate. Is that true? Because if that's true, I feel quite opposed to that viewpoint. I believe it innovated too much to a detriment. They radically changed the perk system, the specialist system, to a point where they changed so much that people didn't want to play. Like, they didn't recognize it anymore, and it turned a lot of people off from the gameplay they liked. Gobblegums got revamped, perks got revamped, guns got revamped, specialist systems got revamped. I guess guns not as much, but I mean, so many systems went through major overhauls, completely innovated and changed how you played zombies, and it made for a very polarizing experience in the community.
Yeah, I didn't watch Tim Hansen's video, but what I will comment on Black Ops 4 not innovating is that innovation that's poorly or changes that are received poorly
Mm-hmm.
get called needless, while
Mm-hmm.
changes that are received really well get called innovative.
Perfect.
So how can you say that Black Ops 4, like, it becomes almost a little bit of a double standard. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
Black Ops 4 didn't innovate. No, it's not that they didn't innovate. It's that they made changes that you and the greater community didn't receive well.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly tried to innovate.
Yeah.
Whether or not they succeeded at that innovation is up for you to decide. I don't think it's fair to say just a blanket statement they didn't innovate,
Mm-hmm.
because all innovation is well-received changes.
Yes.
If those changes were received with like a praise, we'd say Black Ops 4 is the most innovative. Let's say we
Mm-hmm.
love the new perk system.
Sure.
Let's say we love the specialist. We'd say this is one of the most innovative zombies we've had in years. Thank God Treyarch finally changed up that boring, antiquated perk system they've used for almost a decade now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. Boss Man
it's
just.
all about framing and how you receive things.
Exactly. I just want to add, Boss Man in chat put out that they have a scrapped Chaos Wonder weapon they put into Blackout called the Eye of Apophis. That's pretty cool. Neato. That again comes into the innovation talk I wanted to bring up. It's just like seeing, new Wonder weapons was another criticism. We didn't see a lot of new Wonder weapons this year. A lot of remasters, remakes. How many times did we see Thunder Gun get put into the game? All things to consider. And again, to your point, if they ended up doing some of the stuff I've suggested, like, I can't believe that the cross-map Easter eggs that was introduced in Transit with the nav cards hasn't evolved in leaps and bounds by this point. And that would, if they did that in this game, what incredible innovations, right? We would have been so excited about it. So you make excellent points, John.
Mm-hmm. Power Outage says, what's the most fun Wonder Weapon in Zombies? My favorite is the Ray Gun Mark III because of how unique and powerful it is.
It's a fun one. I like Scavenger still, just on low rounds. That's so much fun.
Is really
so much fun. Especially if you put up that sensitivity and you're like spinning and shit and shooting it off.
It's
and
satisfying.
And you're like, come on, George, come on. You're fighting him and killing zombies. Like, you can be it works so well that it's blocking all the zombies from murdering you while you're trying to deal with George at times. And if you have the music going, it's a great gameplay gun.
Mm-hmm. I think the blunderbuss was a fun Wonder Weapon. Something about that just felt satisfying.
Oh yeah. Certainly.
The blunderbuss I will actually put into
Exo zombies. Yeah, I agree with that.
No, I was thinking the cannon gun. I can't think of that.
Oh, Kraken was a ton of fun too
Kraken.
from BO4.
Like
I agree.
Dr. Minty says, who's cuter, Baby Groot or Baby Yoda?
Well, there's a fucking spoiler.
Baby Yoda.
Well, spoilers for The Mandalorian. That was one of the really cool plot hooks, is they found one of Yoda's species. That's what they're fighting over. He was tasked with a high-profile bounty. He gets in there. It's 50 years old, so right around the time Yoda died. I don't think it's a reincarnation of Yoda, but it's like basically one of the most unexplored pieces of lore in Star Wars is where did Yoda come from and why is he so powerful? He's the most powerful Jedi ever, arguably, besides Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, all the All-Stars. Yaddle, his sister, was on the council, or at least a female version of his species, one of the only other ever references to his race. So we're going to deal with a very Force-sensitive race, so you're going to get tons of lore about this character. I mean, it's a perfect plot hook, because you're just saying, like, I don't know anything about the most powerful Jedi ever. Is it inherent in his species? Was it learned? Where do they come from? Why does the Empire want them? Ton of really cool things can easily come out of that plot hook.
Are Yoda's species rare? I just assumed they weren't.
There's only been two we've ever seen ever in Star Wars.
Yeah,
and
I know.
We don't even know the name of a species. That's how rare they are.
I know that. I just assumed though that like Yoda was just special.
I think he is special. I think it's not inherent, but I think they have a higher metachlorian count than most other creatures. I think inherently they have access to the Force, as you will see in The Mandalorian. It's a bit it's interesting.
Who would be next one comes from? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was gonna read something in chat, getting back to a previous conversation. But what do you want to say before we get to that?
I was gonna read the next topic, but read that chat.
Sure. Psycho5 said Tim acknowledged because we asked the chat what did he say? So that's why I wanted to read it. The innovation, but it was more that they innovated things that didn't need to be changed. Just proving your point. Some yes and were good, but others no and were a detriment. Examples escape me. There you go. Boba Fett is not in the Mandalorian, and I don't think you should bring him in until like season 3 or 4 at best. This can easily stand on its own. I was really worried by the first episode that they were going to be like, oh, here's Lost Jedi X, some name you would know, or some tie into the Obi-Wan series, or like any of that stuff is so like, ugh. This was a really good way of still exploring the universe without having to lean into like, like episode 9 is like, oh, the Emperor's coming back. What? That leans into my cynicism towards Star Wars, which is like, you guys aren't saying anything new. You're not making anything new or interesting.
Last one comes from Captain Murphy. He says, thanks, Reed, for your tip last week on the XM53 to one-hit the DE boss fights. I don't have to wait for money bombs or danger closest anymore. Just a bow in the XM53 and I'm good to go.
Welcome. Yeah, it's awesome. I think I learned that from Pizza, so thank Pizza too.
But that's it for topic time this week. Thanks for those who submitted.
Let's get to the donations. You know, I better just get up at Streamlabs. But you know, it's good to see some positive Star Wars content. That's fun. Maybe it'll give me hope for future installments of the Obi-Wan series. You gonna go see on opening? I mean, there's a lot of movies coming out. You gonna go see Frozen 2?
I probably will see both of them. Yeah, Frozen 2 and Star Wars.
You can go with your. Are you gonna go with your? Your little sisters.
I'm sure my younger sisters will want to see it, so I'll go see it.
Well, honestly, I want to know. I'm just curious. It's just like this is one of the most hyped Disney movies ever. Like Frozen 1 was one of the most just received well and made so many records. What the hell are they gonna say in a sequel? I'm very curious. I'm not going opening night, but I got to find somebody to go. My sister absolutely hates it, so I'm not going to be a weird single guy going to see Frozen 2 by himself. That's weird. I got to go during school hours if I'm going to do that. David Kirk donated. Once again, another consistent wink. David Kirk comes in with a £10 donation. Just hit 120,000 gamer score. Is that what it's called? GS on Xbox. By playing Fallout 3, a good Bethesda game. Thought your video covered Bethesda well. I just wanted to know your thoughts on Stadia and xCloud with their announcements for 2019. I do want to make a video on that at some point. Wow. Did you hear what happened to Stadia? It's supposed to launch in like a week.
No, is it really?
Yeah. That was a projected date. It was supposed to do that, and instead of delaying launch,
fell off the radar
big time. And I can't even begin to describe. I guess I can. That's a stupid statement. I take that back. I reject that from the record. I will begin to describe how awful their release schedule is already coming. Is developers are terrified that they're just going to cancel Stadium altogether after all these contracts were signed. All their launch titles are all games that have already come out. Almost nothing has pulled people exclusively except a platformer. People who pre-ordered it won't be getting it day one. Not everybody, but there's a large portion of people, even Founders Editions, they just didn't make enough for their pre-order date. They couldn't manufacture enough of them, even though they took the money, which is insane. Could you imagine buying any console? I mean, this is seeming like the Ouya right now, but any console on day one and you don't get it, you gotta wait. Like, what? What do you mean? So people who have Chromecasts, they can't just get an update and play it. And like as soon as they get the controller and play it like they promised, they got to wait for a patch. They have to wait till they get their specific Chromecast for this in order to play the Stadia. The lineup is just so... It's all games we've already played. So why would you buy this at full price? There's a bunch of features that aren't working on launch. Some of the biggest ones was like playing with your stream chat. That was an interesting feature. But some of the like most basic features of Stadia that I can't remember off the top of my head that most people bought it for aren't available on launch and will be released in 2020. It's just like,
yeah, this strikes me as a service because I think Google's behind it.
Yeah.
You know, even if it gets off to a rocky start, the funding will be there to keep it going for a while. This strikes me as a service, though, that like first year is gonna be a rough year.
Yeah.
I think once the ball gets rolling and they're getting games as they're released and not just like games we've already played before, then it'll be better. But I think it's gonna have a rocky start, but because Google's backing it, I expect that they'll do fine in the long run.
That's a fair point, but I saw this on Inside Gaming, and they mentioned this site called the Google Graveyard.
Oh, yeah,
And
Google kills a lot of projects.
I had no idea, and 190, all right, 190 projects that that ended up failing. I think Google Glass is on there.
Yeah, but also a lot of projects by Google.
But that's the point. That's your R&D division. That's part of the.
Yeah.
They're just like, I'm going to take $10 billion this year. I'm pretty sure that's part of their allocation. I heard in a video I watched in college, so it's probably dated by now. But they take budget about $10 billion a year just to try and new shit out, basically.
Yeah.
For R&D.
Like they got Alphabet. That's their.
Yeah.
Just because Google starts a project and kills it, I don't really.
So it'll be interesting to see if Stadia can survive with Google's funding or if it's going to be part of the Google graveyard, because it's looking dead on arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Comcap donates $5 and says, "Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Comcap. Thanks for donating." Mr. Drown here again. Good day, gentlemen. I hope all is well. Stay safe, stay productive, and have a great week. Thank you so much, Mr. Drown. Always good to see you every week. Asteroid Delta. Going to work right now, but I hope all is well. Also, hello, everybody. Life's great. 1 week without gaming. Love you all, Delta. Yeah, big kudos to you. Delta reached out to me, and he's been trying to get away from gaming, and that's something I encourage many of you to do if it's too much. If you're not a casual gamer, if you're spending, 20 to 40 hours a week gaming, there's a lot more to life, and you might be a lot more happy if you end up getting out there and seeing the world. I mean, John, you have quite an active social life, right? You hardly play games.
Yeah, we can call it that. Quite an active. Yeah,
I feel like that translates to a much happier life and more engaged life.
Like to me, I play games that catch my interest and like just casually for fun. But I'm not obsessing over games.
Right.
But that doesn't always translate. Me not playing games all the time doesn't always translate to me like out and about. It could also just be me on my phone or me on Reddit. Sure.
I think that there is some. I'm not gonna say that. Forget it. Anyway, but there was a really good quote I had in here. It was on a video. Somebody had a good analysis of a lot of why there's such a demographic shift in guys playing, like depressed men playing video games, and it talks about the psychology behind men needing a job and a purpose, and video games are really great at doing that for people, and that's why men can just get sucked in. And it's not saying women can't, just men are significantly, based on statistical analysis, more likely to get sucked into video games because of these psychological impulses or psychological needs that need to be fulfilled, such as like having a job, prospering in the job, and you can get that like in any of these video games. Be the hero, any RTS games like Civ, all those type of deals. So that's just something interesting. I thought it was cool. I don't have the quote. I think I deleted it, but something to put out there and something to consider. I believe that is everything else we have here. So go have a absolutely wonderful week until we see you all next. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Zombroz. We'll be back next week if there's news for Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more Zombroz action. You can check us out on iTunes and Spotify. If you like the show, you can support us on Patreon. That's the best way to make sure the show continues to thrive and continues to get produced. We have bonus episodes coming out later this month. It's a busy month. October we took care of. November and December we should be getting towards our new Patreon revamp. All those things to look forward to. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Be safe till then. Bye now.